Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Scott. I'm the president of Bay Work, and also I oversee technical training at Valley Water. We want to welcome you here to this session today, which is talking about maintenance, putting it all together faster than it falls apart. And so we have with us today Eric Karo, who's going to be telling us about some of his strategies and methodologies and stuff. And we want you to feel free. We want this to be informal. So we want to have a discussion, a conversation about what it takes to do maintenance at a treatment plant and some of the challenges and such. And so it will be informal, and Eric's going to walk us through some of his processes. So feel free to just chime in, unmute yourself and talk. And we're gonna, just talk about some aspects of what it takes in this industry to keep things running. And so I'm gonna turn it over to Eric now and let him do whatever it is he likes to do.
Well, good afternoon, and I would like to know how many maintenance folks do we actually have with us? Are we talking to some main folks, or are we looking at a variety? I looked on the sign up sheet, only saw 2 or 3 of the obvious maintenance positions. Get some kind of hands up or something.
I see a mechanical superintendent,
Okay.
a intern, as well as an assistant engineer, and a reliability engineer intern.
Okay.
And then someone who's trying to get into the industry, just trying to learn more about it. That's what I see in the chat so far.
Okay.
Anybody else out there who want to share your position? You just unmute yourself and talk about it a little bit.
That'll do. That's a general. Going to do a general overview then. So yeah, think about it like who are we as maintenance? It's important for us to know who we are so that we can explain it to others. I noticed. I think that's Dolores. There's some there I can see. And I've talked to Dolores about this a lot. Was so we can describe.
Hi.
There you are.
I've missed you.
Wonderful to see you there. So we can describe who we are to human resources, who we can describe who we are to our partners, to help manage expectations for recruitment, and also to know who we need to become. Team member development, personal development, professional development, and such. And so, skilled trades, it's kind of I kind of like to keep skilled trades in quotes. Labor's labor. It takes a long time to learn how to do most things. And so, and on our end, the skilled trades, we're looking at mechanics largely. We're looking at electricians, and we're looking at control techs or field automation techs, what we call instrumentation and control techs here. But then we also have, and other agencies not here, no place I've worked yet, we've got those hands-on operators where we've got the distribution and the treatment operators, and we've also got stationary engineers in a lot of places, correct? Again, I think that's SFQC has a lot of stationary engineers. So we've also got general, I'm just going to say general maintenance, general trades. And so these things they look simple on the front of it, but the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are required from these folks, well, kind of from a lot of different folks, actually come down to similar groups of stuff. Well, something we all need, and anybody who's been involved with recruitment can jump in here. I'm going to start listing out stuff that we need to exhibit, knowledge, skills, and abilities that are somewhat universal, whether you're in skilled trades or almost any other line of work. You got your basic human relations group, which used to get left out a lot of our maintenance job recruitments and our job postings, but we're starting to articulate that group of skills more. We need to have awareness of compliance issues, whether they're environmental, health and safety, or water quality, et cetera, et cetera. We've got a lot of compliance knowledge that is necessary to do our jobs. Relating to, we need to be able to communicate. So far, I think we need this in almost every position in a water utility. This starts to get more specific with the labor. We're looking for some kind of technical proficiency. I'll get into that a little bit because we're going to be talking about KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities. We'll talk about that a fair amount here. And then technical proficiency, we're also talking about the skill, the less technical aspects of the work. It's a big old category for us. And then we need people who are public service mindset. When you're here on call outs at 2 a.m, when you're here on Christmas, when there's a big huge earthquake and you have to come to work instead of staying home, coming in with that public service mindset right up front, know what you're getting into, and then curious. In maintenance, we like folks who are interested in turning over logs and turning over rocks, looking for what's under there. People who are content to walk by and not know what kind of problem might be lurking. Going to have a little bit of a harder time succeeding in this environment. People who are digging in, opening it up, taking a deeper look, who want to know, a curiosity, really, a natural state of curiosity or an interest. You know, we're looking for an interest in this problem solving. Problem solvers. It's easy to see obstacles. It can be more difficult to see solutions. People don't necessarily come out of the womb like this, right? We have to learn how to do these things. And making sure I got stuff. Regulatory compliance, talking about OSHA, Cal-OSHA. We have electrical safety. District has, each one of our districts, our utilities has its own safety rules and regulations. Chemical issues, chemical response, chemical spills, chemical handling. And then the water itself, treatment and distribution regulations that come from the state. Also, if you're in wastewater, some folks are here. There's that whole other set of regulations as well that you're dealing with the state. The human relations stuff, looking at people who are interested in being team oriented, and also looking for people who are interested in taking a partnership or a relationship approach to being here at work. It's pretty huge stuff for us. Without that, yeah, we're tending to think about it like we're working along. In here, we've got a lot of, it takes a lot of hours to become who we are in maintenance. Thinking about it from a treated water perspective, but we also use CWEA, California Water Environment Association, which is largely associated with wastewater. We use CWEA as a verification to determine whether or not people are in possession of the knowledge, skills, and abilities we're looking for. CWA has multiple, a lot of you already know all about CWA with their multiple certification paths. In our skill trainings program, we like our team members to have this. We require our entry level team members who are going to become journey level team members to possess this before we can promote them. Just talking about our technical proficiencies and the labor of work associated. To get these CWA certifications, we're looking at thousands of hours. You can hear in my notes, the CWA, it can be 4,000 hours, up to 12,000 hours for the levels 1 through 4 that CWA offers. Here at Valley Water, for people to promote to a journey level, we're looking for the level 2, which is an 8,000 hour certification path. We have the same kind of thing going on with our regs on the treated water side, the distribution and treatment. Distribution and treatment, again, we're looking at thousands of hours. It goes from 2,000 up to some astronomical, I guess 6,000. That's if you're keeping at it. Most of us let time lapse in between leveling up. I just pulled my D4 and it took me about 12 years or something. And so just satisfying this part of it. Developing the kind of team members we're looking for, who maintenance is, what we need to know. It's a considerable investment for the utility, obviously, right? So I'll back up a little bit. And we talk about the senior role as well. So on an individual level, we need to be able to do the work, talk about the work, solve the problems, stay busy, right? But as far as who we are as a team, we're going to have our team members. Again, we're talking about those mechanics, those electricians, mechanical techs, electrical techs, control techs, etc. Then we got our lead personnel, as well as our supervising personnel. Talking a little bit about the needs here, working up towards talking about what the program is, what we need to create with our knowledge, skills, and abilities, moving our team members through these stages, and even getting people ready, entry level, they work a lot in this regard, taking people who don't have any of the basic skills that we are in need of yet, and taking them from sometimes straight, we're talking about the apprenticeship, we're taking possibly people straight out of high school, et cetera, et cetera. So team member development, where are we going? What are the roles? What are the goals? So here we've got our craftspeople, we've got our leads, we've got our supervisors. In addition to the more universal skill set that's needed from team members with the leads, we're in need of the abilities to start planning. Really, coordinating. Still need to have all the skill sets necessary to be a journey level contributor. But we need people who can resource, Been given an assignment, the team's been given an assignment. You have to make it happen with very little direction. So you gotta be able to resource yourself and others. To be a subject matter expert in the various compliance needs. Again, we're talking environmental, health and safety, water quality. It's going to carry through, keeps carrying through. And then we need to identify and develop how to be a teacher. And train them. Again, people don't just show up ready to do this stuff. We have to cultivate these abilities in one another. As a lead, we're needing to communicate and hold our team members to standards. Those standards can be quality. A lot of the time, these standards are codes or regulations. If we're not working to the standards, then we're not actually doing our jobs here in regions. Again, with the lead personnel, resourcing, materials, information, tools, techniques. And we got to be able to hype, promote, promote continuous effort, continuous improvement. Going with continuous enjoyment right now. It's a long pull. A lot of what we do in maintenance is prevent newsworthy things from occurring. And so it can be a long effort. Spending years and years at a place, working on infrastructures. And one of the major goals is preventing noticeable or newsworthy events from taking place at all. There's got to be a natural energy that's coming from the work, from the satisfaction of the work. So being able to promote communicative vision, keep people engaged, plugged into the work. Supervising, we're adding yet a whole nother level. Again, this is your first administrative level of responsibility. You'll be taking all of the information that you had as a journey person, plus all of the information that you possess as a lead person, plus. I think Mr. Scott would argue with me. I was about to write leadership down here. And he would have wanted me to put leadership here. And he would want me to put leadership here.
That's right.
And I agree with him. Sorry, Rob, I just didn't get it until now.
Yeah.
We are really cultivating leaders, aren't we? Throughout.
Yeah.
Leading one's self and one another. This is the first point of common contact, usually between all the crafts. And so when I talk about leadership from this perspective, here you are. This is the first time where a single person is responsible for everything that's taking place. the senior and lead levels are responsible within a craft. But at our supervision level, at least in our model, in our program, this is the first level that's responsible for the overall reliability, the compliance, the budget. At this level, we're goal setting for the group. There's a lot. I narrowed it down to 15 items at some point when I was trying to figure out how to be a supervisor, and I needed some help. But yeah, journey level knowledge of craft, time managing for a group as well as for oneself, problem solving, again, problem solving like leadership would carry through. We're problem solving, we're problem solving, we're problem solving. Where are we? Here I am, I'm problem solving. Good enough to do it. Good enough to teach it. And good enough to teach it. We'll stay on problem solving for a minute. In our program, we're really big on problem solving being one of the foundational, what we call, primary methodology of what we do. A lot of our business practices rest on a layer of problem solving that carries through every one of our business practices. I've spent a handful of years trying to get a clear, concise method. And as I was going to hold this up to show how many pieces of words are on this piece of paper. This is as short as I could make a conventionally accepted problem solving methodology. I don't know about you, but if I'm in a hurry and there's a lot of stuff going on and we're talking about possibly shutting the water plant down, there's too much going on there for me. I don't know how many of you are familiar with 5 why, drilling down a root cause. At some point it occurred to me that I could boil it down to 5 what problem solving. And this is, maybe I'm just having a laugh here, but I've been talking to the team a lot about it. This is much more trainable, is what I'm noticing. What's the problem? What's the cause? What are we going to do? What's the effect of what we did, and what should we do differently moving forward? Having a problem-solving methodology that is teachable, I'm finding to be a lot handier for our program, because we're trying to create problem solvers along the way. When we leave it up to individuals to come up with their own way to solve problems, it can very well lead to the right results. However, it can also lead to a lot of running around in different directions. So having a shared problem solving methodology is great. So I'm going to move forward from here. There's a lot. We can just go and go and go and end up with a whole bunch of stuff. What I notice in trying to communicate what maintenance does, who we are, how we do it, it's been necessary to develop a visual aid, like a reminder, but it's also a communication tool. So I was fortunate enough working here at Valley Water to benefit from an influx of employees who came from the NUMMI plant when the Toyota NUMMI plant got shut down in the Fremont area. And a lot of what we do in our program is based on the Toyota practices that Robert Scott, Jonathan Burgess, and others brought with them. Car manufacturing is not exactly the same type of process as water treatment. Obviously, there are major differences. However, good business practices tend to be good business practices, and we've been able to modify and adapt a lot of what is involved in the Toyota processes or the Toyota mindset. The easiest way for me to represent it is I'm going to draw the slide for you guys. So main business practice. Why do you need maintenance? What is maintenance doing for us as an organization? Who are we, right? What are we delivering? Business practice. We're looking for a good value. It's kind of left over from the private sector again, but it works for us. This is your fiscal responsibility. We're looking for best value, reliability, and regulatory compliance. I'll make that a little bit compliance. So everything we're doing in maintenance, it's all right here. The equipment has to be reliable. The process has to be reliable. We have to be able to treat water 24/7. Absolutely needs to happen. It has to be fiscally responsible. And we have to comply with the regulations. Again, water quality regulations, and environmental regulations, health and safety regulations, and so on. Trades and codes and standards, et cetera, et cetera. And we have what we summarize as our basic business practices. Business purpose, business purpose, our purpose for being here at the utility. And our basic business practices. That as we drill down on them tended to fall into 4 categories. We base everything on partnerships, one of our columns. We base everything on processes. We're not doing things arbitrarily. We want to do things in a way that's repeatable and repeatedly gives us the result we're looking for. We need the right resources in the right place at the right time. Right resourcing. So it's labor, it's materials, it's information, and we're working on something. Do we have the drawings? Do we have the materials we need to correct the problem? Do we have the team members? When the team members show up, do they have the knowledge and skills and abilities that we're looking for? And again, improvement. Improvement forever. What we're doing in maintenance is making it a little better all the time, right? When I said putting it together faster than it falls apart, that was a few things. We're putting the infrastructure back together faster than it falls apart. It's one of the things I say to the team over and over again. As long as we're putting it together faster than it falls apart, we're doing good. But it's more than that. When someone retires, the skills leave. When someone quits, the skills leave. Are we developing the skills as fast or faster than they're leaving? Yeah, it's our processes. Are we improving them at the right pace? Resting on that that floor. Problem solving. Partnerships, relationships. Resting on a foundation. People centered. Safety culture. When I first got here, I was in a hurry. Came from heavy industry and manufacturing and construction. I wanted my result. I wanted it now. I wanted it all the time. I don't know about your agency. Our agency, we've got 1,000 people that work here. The bureaucracy is significant. Getting to the result can take years when the work itself might take weeks. It's literally that thick. I had to learn how to slow down and appreciate all the people involved in that in order to make it to go as fast as it could go here. I was fortunate to have a boss who was trying to train me to slow down and talk to people about their kids and little league and stuff, which I wasn't interested in doing at all. I just wanted to talk to them about the work. And you can't create a people-centered culture and have it just be about the work. And so it was a long time coming to that reality, but here we are, got there. And then it's not just a people-centered culture, it's a culture designed to keep them safe and to keep the public safe. And so, you know, as we're talking about a culture where people come first, those people are our community as well as our coworkers. So, again, this is really basically, I'm trying to communicate a vision, trying to communicate a message. I repeat these concepts over and over again to my team a little here and there. And I think they're getting better at pretending like they're listening, because I go on and on about this stuff. They're giving me the impression that they're listening. And it feels like we're listening around here. I'm going to do something with this. Basically, it can be expressed like this. What are we doing? I don't know how many people are familiar with the hierarchy of controls concept, engineering concept. What have we got here? Hierarchy of controls. We're controlling hazards. One of the major things we do around here. We like to eliminate hazards. We like to avoid the hazards. We want to substitute the hazards. Very last resort, we want to put on some kind of PPE. This is just a list of various water quality regs. So we're hitting water quality regs. Obviously, we got to meet them. We've got goals and objectives for our team members, who we want them to be. This is a copy of one of our annual evaluation goals. And then we got to have a way to make our team members, develop our team members into the team members we want them to be. This is just a copy of a process we put together to advance entry-level employees to journey-level employees. So, what do we want? Again, I'm repeating myself, but here we go. Instead of bottom to top, we're going top to bottom. What's the vision? What's the message? What do we want? We want that people-centered safety culture. What are we trying to create? We want teams of problem solvers. We want to be continuously improving. I feel like it's a little less abstract this week. We want to be working with the resources readily at hand, whatever they are. We don't want to be working arbitrarily. We want to be process-based. We want these processes to be documented, transparent, out in the open, making decisions for reasons that can be seen. We want to be working collaboratively. Partnerships. Back to that. And we're doing this so that we can create system reliability, regulatory compliance, and the ratepayer. The public. A little less abstract that way to me. Come back to partnerships here for a moment and then go on. Are we working in a customer service stream? Or are we working collaboratively? I think there are limitations and shortcomings in the customer service model. Like when we're partners, those of us who are successfully married, congratulations, by the way. Are they your customer or are they your partner? When we embrace our partners' issues as our own and work together to solve our shared problems, it's much more powerful than somebody saying, hey, do this for me because I want you to. You know, so we use the word partnerships on purpose. We're trying to create a culture. There's a lot of conversation about culture, a lot of messaging about culture. For me, culture is simply the sum or total of our actions, our speech, our behaviors. And why do we do anything when we're at work? Largely, we do what we're told at work. We do because the boss said to do it, which is why I think it's important for the boss to have a sense of the victim. You know, when the boss is saying, "Hey, I want this to be a safe learning environment," when somebody's admitting that they made a mistake, jumping on top of them and ripping them some more on top of it isn't necessarily an emotionally safe environment. We're trying to create a learning environment. The best learning environment is an emotionally safe environment. safety culture, including a lot of our soft skill topics that we, in other lines of work might be taken for granted by the state, but in maintenance, we're just getting started. I would like to talk about employee development, but I see that we're running out of time. And I would like to talk about process development, but I see we're running out of time. When I say processes, are people familiar with what I'm talking about? Okay. Anybody have any examples of processes? I'm going to run through a few things. I'm just going to do that all enough to do. Processes are basically anything we put together that'll help us achieve the common outcome. It could be something as simple as like, this tells us what steps to go through in order to do some electrical switching. So this is our safe switching process. When we install a new piece of equipment, we have to gather information off of it. And so, what we have here is our, new equipment commissioning process, where we're flowing information in about the pumps and motors and such as we install them. We have lockout tagout processes, and so we're keeping track of where the locks are necessarily. Again, so they're just a process is a documented roadmap that we can use in order to follow it repeatedly in order to arrive at the desired destination. Using them and continuously improving them. I think that when people talk about maintenance, they tend to just think about people turning wrenches and fixing broken stuff. And I've been talking now for about 40 minutes or so, and I haven't really talked about that at all. And so I appreciate the opportunity to share the reasons behind why we're doing what we're doing and the reasons that drive a successful maintenance organization, the maintenance philosophy, the underpinning business approach, because it's not necessarily the kind of thing people might normally think of from a guy wearing overalls. And so, does anybody have any questions? I could do this for about 4 more hours and then I would feel like I was making sense.
Any questions or comments from anyone? Just unmute yourself and talk.
Because I think we're right about on the minute, right?
Yeah, we're getting close. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see any comments or questions.
Thanks, Dolores. I appreciate that. What I would like also, if we've got a minute, I would like, maintenance hasn't yet had a large presence within Baywork during these types of workshops and presentations. And any suggestions anyone has on various topics that may be of interest, I'd like to know about it. I did, when I agreed to do this, I was talking to Rob, and I was going to do the basics of industrial automation and controls. It's real specific, real technical. And so Rob he's very clever. He hooked me in. He was like, yeah, that'd be great. And then once I was all committed, time was lined out. He's like, yeah, but about this topic. And so, we ended up here with the general business practices on it. So I hope it was interesting. Oh, good. We got some comments there. Thank you. We'll check them out afterwards. I'm sorry that I'm unable to do the computer thing at the same time. This other stuff. So.
It's okay, Eric.
Check them out, baby.
Yeah, no worries, Eric. This is we want to get some feedback on this presentation from people who have been who joined us today. So there's a link in the chat for you to share your feedback through a Survey Monkey, so please share your feedback. You'll also get an email from us with the same link asking you to share feedback as well. As someone who's been involved in certainly workforce planning and also training, leading to jobs in the maintenance and operations occupations, this has been really, I would say, very familiar. A lot of the themes that you've covered, Eric, are some of the same themes that we want our students to hear about, and it's great coming from somebody like you who's got so much experience in the business. So thank you.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Sorry about the technical problems up front. I'm glad we got them ironed out.
No problem. Yeah, I echo what Elizabeth just shared. Just hearing the other side of it, like you said, most people think of this as just about turning wrenches and touching equipment, which is a large part of the results of what we are trying to do inevitably. But there's a whole nother science and thought process behind how we do that. So what I appreciated about what you covered is that part of it, and to see that there is actually intellection going on as it pertains to getting the work done, the methodologies, the processes, and all those times, developing your people, keeping people safe, meeting compliance and regulatory standards and all of that stuff. So I think that doesn't get spoken about often. We just want to know, is the light switch working? Is the machine working? Is the motor running? Which ultimately we want to make that happen, but the motor doesn't run, the light switch doesn't work unless we implement this stuff that you mentioned on the backside. So appreciate that. Any thoughts or comments from anyone? You can just unmute yourself and talk.
I'd like to say too, it would be interesting to add kind of just like the career ladder, or talking a little bit about like the different positions that are attached to maintenance, and maybe how does one go from one position to the next. That might be interesting for those, especially those who are interested in just jumping in or don't have the experience yet. But otherwise, I think everything was excellent, Eric. It's always so good to see you, and it was amazing. Great job.
Well, if we've got a minute, I'll say to anybody who's trying to get in and climb up the ladders, study the job postings, because the utilities are telling you what they're looking for in those job postings.
Absolutely.
Well, any last?
I would also suggest to Dolores's point that I'm sure Valley Water has some of these resources on their website. I've also seen some really amazing resources on the East Bay Mud website under on their job opportunities page. They have some really clear graphics about just what Dolores was suggesting. How does an electrician one or an instrumentation tech one go to being a supervisor? And it's a really clear step-by-step process of the kinds of the amount of experience, the kind of technical training. It also provides information on wages, and I suspect Valley Water has something similar for.
We absolutely don't, and I'm really excited to learn them. Thank you for that.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll put that link in the chat, and I suspect some of these charts might be a little bit outdated in terms of the salary levels. But what I would tell you is that the clarity of the charts is, as a user, is wonderful.
All right, please complete the survey. That's in the link in the chat, and we'll also send that to you via email. We just want to hear your thoughts. Eric, thanks for this great information. And I just want to give you about 30 seconds to say any last comments before we close today.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. It's just the experience. What's the experience of being here? There's the workload, there's the outcomes, like Rob was saying. We tend to see the wrenches getting turned and whether or not the switch works. More and more what I'm focusing on is the experience of being here. We're here for, many of us will just buckle down and be here for decades, and trying to create a positive experience for people who land these jobs, and to keep that effort up so that we're continuing to add value for the community decade after decade. It can be a long pole. You know, sometimes with the team, we joke about we're rowing across an endless ocean, you know, where nothing happens, and that's the goal. But don't worry, there's plenty of food and water, you know, and shelter. But truly, you know, one has to have a vision and a goal in mind in order to sustain that effort as it goes, decade by decade. It's a long pull. We're in the civilization business, really, in the end. And yeah, that's a long thought.
Well, thanks, Eric. Thanks for everything. We want to encourage you. We got one more session today, and it's actually it's going to be talking about our future workforce. And so in our following session. So if you haven't signed up already, do it quickly. It starts at 2. And so we got to get over there now. So thanks again, Eric, for everything. And we'll be talking with everyone, seeing everyone soon, hopefully, and stay abreast of what's going on with Baywork at baywork.org. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the afternoon.
Now, enjoy.